Hi, this is Praveen. Today let us discuss about the topic of gravitation. So under this gravitation, in this class, we were going to discuss about all these topics in detail. First, let us look at their names. The definition of gravitation, acceleration due to gravity, the difference between the mass and the weight, the equations of motion under gravitation, the universal law of gravitation, and finally we were going to look at the characteristics of the gravitational force. First, let's begin with the topic, the definition of gravitational force. How do we define this gravitation? Gravitation is nothing but the force of attraction between any two bodies. Let's say there are two bodies, one with mass m1, another one with mass m2. So, here the force of attraction which is happening between them, they would attract towards each other with the force which is called as the gravitational force. So, this is how you can define the gravitational force. So, now we also hear another term that is called as acceleration due to gravity. What is this acceleration due to gravity? Let us say there is a body which fell down towards the earth, which has came to the earth. As we were not applying any force, so don't apply the force. Don't apply any velocity or any other force. So then the body will be accelerated. So it is accelerating. Why it is accelerating? Because the gravitation of the earth. As we have seen, there should be two bodies, and the force of attraction between them is called as gravitation. So the bodies are, this one is body number 1 and this is the earth which is body number 2. So there is a force of attraction. So this force of attraction is nothing but the gravitation. So the gravitation causes this acceleration, due to which this phenomenon is called as acceleration due to gravity. This acceleration due to gravity is represented with the small g. This is how you can represent the acceleration due to gravity. So the value of acceleration due to gravity on earth is 9.8 meters per second square. So the next one is mass and weight. We often hear the terms mass and weight. So what is mass? Mass is the amount of matter that is found in a substance, whereas weight is nothing but the product of mass and acceleration due to gravity gives us weight. As an equation, we can write W is equals to mg. So what are the units of weight? So mass, it is kg, and gravitation is meter per second square. Since we call it as acceleration due to gravity, we were having some acceleration. So the units are meter per second square. As we all know, 1 kg meter per second square is equals to 1 Newton. So weight is measured in newtons. So what differences can we find between mass and weight? The first difference is mass is a fundamental physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantity, whereas weight is a derived physical quantity. As you can see, we have mass and acceleration due to gravity, due to which it is a derived physical quantity. The next one, mass is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity because it doesn't have direction, whereas weight is a vector quantity. Weight is a vector quantity because it has some direction because of the presence of gravity. So then the third one, mass is measured in kgs, whereas weight is measured in newtons. As you have seen earlier, they are measured in newtons. So the fourth one is mass is constant, whereas weight is variable. Mass is constant everywhere, whereas weight varies from place to place. For suppose, let us say a person of 60 kgs has went to the moon. So here, the weight of the person on the earth is 60 kgs, whereas the weight of the person on the moon differs to 10 kgs. It's just because the moon is having a low gravity, which is 1/6 of the earth's gravity. But the mass of the man is constant all around the universe. So these are the differences between mass and weight. Now let us look at the equations of motion under gravitation. As we have seen earlier, there are mainly three equations of motion. One is V is equals to U plus AT. Another one is S equals to UT plus half AT square. ut plus half at square, and the third one is b square minus u square is equals to 2as. So by using these three kinematic equations, we can derive the equations of motion for gravitation. So under gravitation, we have three case studies. One is for free fall. The second one is for a body which is projected vertically upwards, and the third one is when a body reaches its maximum height. First, let us look at the free fall. In this free fall, let us say this is the surface of the earth, it is the ground surface, and a ball is dropped and you do not have to apply any force or any velocity. Then that means the initial velocity of the ball is going to be 0. Since the initial velocity is 0, it starts to accelerate because of the reason that the gravitational force of the earth pulls the object towards itself. So we have acceleration due to gravity. So our A is going to be plus g, since the direction of acceleration due to gravity in the same direction. And when the body reaches the ground surface, it attains some velocity. So let us say the v be v, final velocity is v. So the displacement or distance, let us say it is height h, and also the time taken is t. So how do we derive these equations? First equation, v is equals to u plus at. Let us replace all the values in this equation. So here v is equals to, since u value is 0, there is no use of u for us now. It is going to be, a value is plus g, it is g, and t value is t itself, so gt. So v is equals to gt is our first equation of motion under free fall. Looking at the second one, s equals to ut plus half at square. Here, s is nothing but the height as we have seen earlier. H is equals to, u value is 0, so ut is also going to become 0. So h is equals to half into, a value here is g. It becomes half into g into t square value is t square itself. So h is equals to half gt square is our second equation of motion for free fall. Looking at the third equation, v square minus u square is equals to 2as. It is going to become v square, since u value is 0, u square is also 0. So v square is equals to 2 into, a value is g and s value is h, 2gh. So this is our third equation of motion for the free fall. And from this third equation, I can write v is equals to square root of 2gh. So these are the equations of motion under free fall. Now let us look at the second case study. A body which is thrown vertically upwards. A body is thrown vertically upwards. So let us say it is the ground surface, and a body moves in this direction and reaches to its maximum height. So when we throw a ball like this, then what happens? We were applying some force, due to which the ball is going to some height. So that means our initial velocity, let us say it is u, and when it goes towards in this direction, acceleration due to gravity is in the opposite direction. So the sign becomes negative. So acceleration value is minus g. And when the body reaches its maximum height, that means the final velocity is going to be equals to 0, since it stops for at least 0.1 seconds or below. So my final velocity is equals to 0, and yes, that is displacement is h and the time is t. So what are the equations of motion? First one, v is equals to u plus at. So in this equation, v value is 0. So 0 is equals to u, and here a value is minus g and t value is t. It is minus gt. So 0 equals to u minus gt. So if we bring this u towards this side, it becomes minus u. Minus u equals to minus gt. Minus and minus gets cancelled. We would be left out with u is equals to gt. So it is our first equation of motion for a body which is thrown vertically upwards. The second equation of motion is s is equals to ut plus half at square. So ut plus half at square. Here s is nothing but h. H is equals to u is u, t is t. It is ut. Here we have half into a value is minus g. It is minus half gt square. Minus half gt square is our second equation of motion for a body which is thrown vertically upwards. Looking at the third equation, v square minus u square equals to 2as. So here the value of v is 0, so v square is also 0. It is going to be minus u square is equals to 2 into a value is minus g, it is minus 2g. S value is h, so it is minus 2gh. Minus and minus gets cancelled, it becomes u square is equals to 2gh. So this is our third equation. So from this equation, I can write u is equals to square root of 2gh. So both these are same. So from this equation itself, how to calculate the maximum height reached by the body? So it is just simple. As you have seen, it is u square is equals to 2gh. If I want h value, if I transfer this 2g towards this side, it becomes u square by 2g. So the value of h is u square by 2g. So this is the third case study which we are going to discuss. So from the third equation we can derive this formula, and this formula is highly important for calculations. So if you want to calculate the height, we can use either the third equation or either the second equation, because both of this can give the height. So these are the two case studies, and this third one, h is equals to u square by 2g, is itself the third case study. So we have seen about the equations of motion under gravitation. Now let us look at the universal law of gravitation. So looking at the universal law of gravitation was given by Isaac Newton, who was an English physicist, and he has proposed this universal law of gravitation in his book which is called as Principia in the year 1687. So as per this universal law of gravitation, every object in the universe attracts every object. So now under this universal law of gravitation, two bodies with masses m1 and m2 respectively, which were separated by a distance of r, would have the gravitational force, and this gravitational force is directly proportional to the product of the masses. That means if the product of the masses increases, then the gravitational force also increases at the same rate. And coming to the next one, if the distance between the two bodies decreases, then the force increases. If it increases, then it decreases. He has given it as force is inversely proportional to the distance square. So from this we can say there are two bodies, one with mass m1, another one with mass m2, and they were separated by a distance of r as per the universal law of gravitation. So from this he has said that F, that is gravitational force in this case, is directly proportional to m1 m2, and also he has said that F is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. So this he has called as the inverse square law. Inverse square law. So this inverse square law is nothing but force is inversely proportional to the distance square. So if we combine both of this, it becomes F is directly proportional to m1 m2 by r square. If I want to remove this proportionality symbol, we have to add the constant of proportionality, and the constant which we are using is capital G, that is universal gravitational constant. So the equation becomes F is equals to capital G m1 m2 by r square. Here the value of this universal gravitational constant is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So Newton meter square per kg square. This is the equation that was given by Isaac Newton. And with this equation, we can find the gravitational force between any two bodies based on the distance and the universal gravitational constant. So coming to the characteristics, which means the features or the important things about the gravitational force. How does it works? The first characteristic is that this gravitational force is always attractive in nature. Why attractive? If you take a look at other forces like the magnetic force or electromagnetic force, they either repel or either attract. So when compared to this gravitational force, it is always attractive. So the second one is, this gravitational force is a force at a distance. So we have some forces like the frictional force, the tension force and others which need a contact in order to have those forces. But there is no need of contact between the bodies to have this gravitational force. So the third one is, This gravitational force is equal and opposite. Equal and opposite. So to understand this third characteristic, let us take an example. So let us say this is the earth. So it is earth. And here we have moon. So if the earth attracts moon at a gravitational force m, then moon also attracts the earth at the same force, that is m. But why does the moon revolve around the earth? The only reason is that the moon is having lower mass when compared to the mass of the earth. So we were experiencing the equal and opposite forces. So as you can see, we have equal forces and in opposite to each other. If in case there is no such kind of equal and opposite reaction, then what happens? One body comes to other body and both of them collide. So looking at the fourth one, so the fourth characteristic is that this gravitational force is the weakest force in nature. So when compared to the nuclear force, magnetic force, electrostatic force, frictional force and others, this gravitational force is weakest force. If there is a low mass, then the gravitational force is so weak. And coming to the fifth one, this gravitational force is independent from intervening medium. So what is medium? Medium is either solid, liquid or gas or either vacuum. But if anything is present or not present, it doesn't matter. The only thing matters is the both objects are having mass or not. So this is the fifth feature. Looking at the sixth one, this gravitational force is a long range force. So what do you mean by this long range force? Let us say in case we have two magnets. So if the magnets are kept far away from each other, then the magnetic force becomes zero. But it is not in the case of gravitation. When the distance increases, then the gravitational force decreases, but it doesn't go to zero. That is why we call it as a long range force. So these are the 6 important and major characteristics of the gravitational force. So now let us prove that the gravitational force, that is the acceleration due to gravity on earth, is 9.8 meters per second square. So G equals to 9.8 meters per second square. We were going to prove that. So this is the question. So now how to prove this? For that, let us apply the universal law of gravitation. The formula for that is F is equals to capital G m1 m2 by r square, where G is nothing but the universal gravitational constant, m1 and m2 are the masses of the two bodies, r square is the square of the distance between the two objects, whereas F is the gravitational force. As we were proving the gravitational force, that is acceleration due to gravity on the earth, we have to take the mass of the earth. So let's say we have to write capital M in the place of m1 m2 as mass of the earth. So capital M is mass of the earth. So now the equation becomes capital G capital M by r square. So r square remains constant, where G is the universal gravitational constant, M is the mass of the earth and r is the radius of the earth, as we were considering about the earth. So the mass of the earth is equals to 6 into 10 power 24 kgs. So the radius of the earth is equals to 6.4 into 10 power of 6 meters. So as we all know, the capital G value, universal law of gravitation, is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So if you substitute the values, it becomes, so G value is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11, 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 into the mass of the earth is 6 into 10 power of 24 whole divided by r square, that is 6.4 into 10 power of 6 whole square into 10 power of 6 whole square. So now the value of 6.67 into 6 is 40.02 multiplied by, here we have 10 power 24 into 10 power of minus 11. It is looking like a power m into a power n, which is equals to a power m plus n. So the value of m here is 24 and n is minus 11. So if we add 24 and minus 11, it becomes 13. So the power should be 13 and the base is 10, which is common. So 10 power 13 whole divided by 6.4 into 10 power of 6 whole square. I can write 6.4 whole square into 10 power 6 whole square, where the square of 6.4 is 40.96 into 10 power of 6 whole square is 10 power of 12. So now it is going to become 40.02 into, if I bring this 10 power 12 towards the numerator, it becomes 10 power minus 12, because 1 by a power n is equals to a power of minus n. If I transfer 10 power 12 towards the numerator, it becomes 10 power minus 12. So now it is looking like a power m into a power n. So the same equation, it becomes 13 minus 12, that is plus 1. So it is 10 whole divided by 40.96 in the denominator. So now it is going to be 400.2 divided by 40.96. So the value of 400.2 divided by 40.96 is equals to 9.8 meters per second square. So like this, you can prove the acceleration due to gravity on Earth is equals to 9.8 meters per second square. So is this value accurate? It is on an average. It is on an average. So the gravitational force, that is acceleration due to gravity, differs from place to place on Earth also. So at the equator, we have the Earth's radius which is more. So due to that reason, we have the gravitational force at equator that is low. So at equator, the gravitational force is equals to 9.78 meters per second square. The polar radius is less when compared to the equatorial radius. So here, if the radius is low or the radius square is low, then the force should be more, as we have discussed earlier. So now at poles we have the maximum acceleration due to gravity. So at poles, the acceleration due to gravity is 9.83 meters per second square. If either the height or depth increases, then the gravitational force decreases. So this is all about the topic gravitation. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.